Tuesday morning, got some admin work out of the way. It's time to train upper body. Gonna rack the floor press at 225 for 8 as the top end set today. And then quite a bit of accessory work. We're bringing back in a wide grip, hammer grip, pull down. That sounded funky. It didn't come out the way I wanted it to. But haven't done that in a while on the short bar variation, so hoping to hit a massive volume PR because normally I incorporate it for 3 sets and I'll be doing it for 5, so getting some upper back development in there. And then driving up the weight on the overhead press with the earthquake bar as well, and then introducing some new tricep variations in a very, very high rep range, 20 to 25 reps for both, just focusing on getting a lot of blood flow and building size on the back of the arm. So we'll catch you guys soon. Started off this training session a little bit stronger than I thought. I may have fibbed with the rep range and the weight because we ran a set of 10 with 230 pounds before backing that off to 205 pounds for 2 sets of 10. So not only did I hit a 10 rep max on the floor press today, but I also hit a volume PR as I haven't worked an excessive amount of volume on the floor press as of current in my training. After I cleared all of this training volume on the floor press, that's when I transitioned over to that silly hammer grip, wide grip pull down, which technically should be labeled as hammer grip wide pull downs or wide hammer grip pull downs. I'm not really sure. Let me know in the comments what you think it should be titled as. Regardless, I was using the short bar on this one. I happen to have a longer bar, which widens the grip significantly. On this particular bar, we ran 5 sets of 15 across with 127.5 pounds. A lot of you ask how I develop my forearms. It's by doing a lot of pull downs, rows on cables, on barbells, etc., dumbbells as well. And I never bypass a grip component. I always ensure that I am grabbing the attachment, the bar, what may be, and squeezing as tight as possible, not using straps or hooks in order to work around the grip, which often becomes the limiting factor. From here into the overhead press with the earthquake bar, a little bit wobbly, 109 pounds for 3 sets of 10 respectively. Getting more confident on the earthquake bar and closing the gap between the earthquake bar overhead press and my traditional overhead press, which is kind of cool, and it'll be interesting to see how that contributes to my overhead pressing capacity. Then hit the triceps with the incline spoon presses, 35s for 4 sets of 20, and then finished off with some thick rope tricep press downs. Check the diameter on that rope attachment. It is absolutely ridiculous. I literally saw this rope attachment when I was purchasing some other equipment, and I was like, that rope is unreasonable. I need to have it because I like buying cool training toys and unique training implements, and that was one I had never seen before. And as unreasonable as it looked, I imagined it would effectively trash the triceps, and I was correct on that one. These are brutal. Not really a big fan, but they're fun. Thursday morning, the primary lift today is barbell walking lunges. That's going to be interesting. I've never put these in as a primary lift, so they're probably going to be a little bit actually light because I'm starting them off kind of where I usually leave them off, but they're usually much later in a training session. But they're going to get heavy over the next 2 training sessions, and that's what's most important. So we'll be starting with 185 for sets of 8 per leg. That's pretty significant. I feel like the heart rate's going to be up a little bit on that, but let's see what we can get done. And it's safe to say that walking lunges with a respectably intense load in consideration of the reps being executed are in fact quite challenging. And the heart rate is definitely elevated because when you think about it, 8 reps per leg is like 16 reps, and 16 reps is cutting it close to cardio. In fact, anything more than 5 reps can be classified as cardio as far as I'm concerned. But all jokes aside, my heart rate was elevated. My legs were pumped, without a doubt. But I was pleased. I was pleased that I was able to rep this out across the board with no significant struggle. I definitely felt it. It was intense, but at no point did I feel like I was close to failure. And that's encouraging because, as many of you know, I love barbell lunges. I think that they're a pretty sweet exercise in consideration of expression of physical strength. And there are few things in consideration of milestones that I would prefer to achieve past a 3-plate walking lunge. And that's for multiple reps. How many, I'm not really concerned with, 3, 5, 6 per leg, something along those lines. But I've never seen anybody confidently rep 3-plate walking lunges, or 4-plate for that matter. I'm sure it's been done, but it's rare. And with quality form through a full range of motion, I don't know. Something about that is incredibly appealing to me on an individual level. Backed my first set of walking lunges off with 2 sets of 8 per leg as well, with 166.5 pounds. Gonna feel the glutes tomorrow for sure. Then I went into an interesting superset. Trying to get a little bit of conditioning in. I do incorporate it from time to time. 10 thrusters or squat and presses with the 50-pound dumbbells for 10 reps. Brutal, actually. Combined with a sled sprint, 300 pounds, one time back and forth across the turf, which is about 48 feet there, 48 feet back. Takes about 15 to 25 seconds. Obviously a little bit faster on round 1, quite a bit slower on round 3. As soon as I was complete this combination for 3 rounds, I transitioned into an overhead earthquake bar walk. Kind of a weird exercise. Took a position under core, but I'm not really sure what the heck it was. I was more so just experimenting with the earthquake bar, throwing in an exercise just for fun to see how I felt. I can tell you that my shoulders were absolutely toasted after holding this overhead for 90 seconds, 4 consecutive rounds, even though it was just 59 pounds, and that was a wrap on that workout. So today I've got some heavy weighted dips. Should be interesting. We're going to be working in the 8 rep range. So technically they're not really heavy, but they're heavy for 8 reps. So we'll see how all goes. I've been really enjoying maintaining these as a primary upper body lift because I'm working often over 300 plus pounds on the dip itself, which obviously drives adequate stress as a pressing movement, but also because the yield has been very progressive in terms of hitting consistent progression. So we'll see what we can do today. Now, the top end set on dips today was at 288 pounds for a set of 8 reps, and as I often like to clarify with dips and pull-ups and chin-ups, that I do include my body weight in that total load being moved. That's not plus 288 pounds, although I hope to get to that point eventually. I do a weigh-in with exactly what I'm going to be training in that day, and then I back that out and add weight accordingly to ensure that the metrics being managed are very specific moving forward, because guess what? Your body weight fluctuates, and that has to be considered, and it could be the difference between you hitting or missing a top end set if you're ignoring this reality. After my 2 back off sets of weighted dips, I moved into some cable rows with the hands in a supinated position, palms facing up towards the ceiling, taxing on the forearms, taxing on the biceps, taxing on the mid and upper back. I like this hand position, but I kind of don't like it also. Then screwed around with a little bit of a variation here with the trap bar. Don't really know what the heck I'm doing, to be completely honest, but I figured I'd take this for a spin. Not really a fan, but I might be a fan. We'll see moving forward if I incorporate this more often. I definitely felt it in my mid and upper back, so that was good, but I just didn't enjoy executing them. But sometimes what you don't like doing proves to be progressive. So we'll see if this shows up again after this training block. And then some kettlebell line triceps extension, high reps here, 30 rep sets. Talk about a pump in the back of the arms. I need a way to micro load these kettlebells though, because these are incredibly effective at trashing those triceps. And a good triceps trashing can be incredibly progressive, as many of you might very well know. That being said, it's tough to jump these. I can already tell jumping to the 15-pound kettlebell is going to be deceptively brutal. They are incredibly unstable. It's tough to maintain the proper position with them. They want to roll. I don't know if roll is the right word. They want to fall. That's probably a better way to describe it. They want to fall to the inside and outside through each repetition. And as that tricep fatigue sets in, you have to squeeze harder and harder, which makes your grip start to fatigue as well. I like these a lot. Finish off the workout with some body weight tricep extensions. A fun variation to throw in from time to time. And that was a wrap on Saturday's session. Leg day, Sunday morning. So today I'm going to be hitting a volume PR on the squats working with, I believe, 293.5 pounds for 5 sets of 8. I think that's the number I'm rolling with today. I'll have to double check. Of course, I'll double check. This block, basically the purpose here with what I'm doing is I like to alternate back and forth now with the squats, simply because the squats are getting relatively heavy, but I don't want to take them out because I want to remain proficient at them. So one phase, one block, I'll do volume PRs. The next one, I'll go back and I'll hit load PRs in varying rep ranges. And the reason I like to alternate is because it becomes very psychologically draining to get under those heavy loads and always grind out slow, sticky PRs. So knowing as much, what I've found to be beneficial for me is to spend a block driving those PRs and then, in a sense, deload by focusing on the volume and hitting PRs there. So I'm still progressing, but I'm not focusing on the heaviest loads, but moderately heavy loads for more work throughout a training session. And what that does is actually increases the base foundation from which I can build from. So when I get back under the bar, focusing on heavier loads on the following phase, I'll have a stronger base moving forward. Finished off this week with some serious volume on the barbell squat, 295 pounds for 5 sets of 8 repetitions. Felt good on these, really greasing that groove and getting that volume built up in consideration of my foundation on the barbell squat. Then I went into some deficit deadlifts. We're talking a 1-inch deficit here, standing on a 45-pound plate. Pulled a top end set of 8 with 365 pounds. The deficits are being incorporated with the intent to improve my pulls off of the floor. Backed off this set of 8 repetitions to another set of 8 repetitions with 328.5 pounds respectively, maintaining those pulls over the 3 plates. And I'm confident between the excessive amount of volume on the barbell squats in combination with the volume being pulled here from the deficit that I am going to have a trashed posterior chain in the days to follow. DOMS is going to hit, it's going to hit hard, and it is going to do me dirty. Finished off this training session with 5 sets of reverse hypers, 10 repetitions per set, 180 pounds. Running a linear progression on the reverse hypers, feeling quite confident, quite strong. I really like the reverse hyper extension, and I'm curious to see how progressively it carries over as I continue to ramp the weight up in a much lower rep range than I might usually incorporate these for.